That's 2 partners you lost. Your partner died. Dude, that is the best death scene ever. No! That is the best death.
Thank you very, 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 thanks for the money, dummies.
My voice. Why am I toxic? What the fuck?
Fuck everyone else. Stop supporting.
On my streams, pretty much. In fact, I was surprised there was a lot of people on my streams. I don't know if that's because there was nothing else to do, or I don't know. It was just an interesting day, to say the least. It was a good one. Pre-stream podcast today didn't have too much in particular to talk about. We kind of previewed what was going to have a new members goal in place. I talked a little bit about it on pre-stream today. For the first time in a long time, we're going to have a 2-tiered members goal for June. Why? Because already we're at a good amount of members, and we've been seeing membership gifting happening a lot as people dropping like membership bombs. So it's very possible we get the support to hit a double goal. No regrets there. Excuse me. Okay. Now Snowcrawl did another $1.50 tip, and is saying one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I'm seriously not even going to read it. Seriously. If you, Snowcrawl, I want you to understand something. If you don't understand what you're suggesting is incredibly stupid, harmful, and fucked up, I don't know how to help you. Like, I mean this. If you think that saying what you just said is like something that should even be thought of publicly, you're fucked up in the head and you need to get some help. I mean, can't you seriously for a second put yourself into the shoes of someone else and wonder why what you just suggested would be really stupid?
What are you doing here today?
Say, oh, 1 Minute Man contributed. It's a lie. I'm making it up. All right? First of all, if I were making it up, the only person I'm hurting is myself. I'm faking contributions? For what purpose exactly? Right? Like how dumb does that sound? I'm faking contributions. Right? What are you, stupid? Okay, how do you even... I don't even know how you get past that first question of why would Phil fake contributions on his own stream. How does that even make sense, what you're saying? It doesn't. All right? It just doesn't make sense. Now, the thing is, I guess where this weird conspiracy theory came up from is that one...
He's full of shit!
You're goddamn right.
As a child, did you just run into walls head first? Like, duh. No, that makes no sense what you're saying. Yikes. But anyway, no, I'm not making it. The thing is, the other thing is that, oh, we'll see. He only gets those tips during. At that point, that video was the way to sever the friendship. There was no point in making it besides that. You see? So, why on earth would I reach out to them after? I was the one reaching out for a year and getting ignored. Then I get an... put out about me, right? It's like, well, why would I reach out to them again after that? At that point, when you see, again, at a low point in my life, that was one of the worst years of my life. Anyone who had publicly been following me knew all the fucked up stuff that happened to me in 2015. And for them to just be another thing to pile on top, when they well knew everything that I was going through, is just kind of like the ultimate fuck you. We don't want to do anything with you. Leave us alone. And that's how I took it, you know? So that's just one example of something that I would react to over the years. Someone would ask me a question like that during a Battle Royale stream and I would answer.
It has not been easy for me. And, you know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan.
And we're back. This is Mr. New Vegas, and I feel something magic in the air tonight.
Playthrough, right? So the last thing I would want to do is make it members only. Because, by the way, I used to do that. You might not realize this, but back in the day, when I just started with Patreon, we used to do Patron's Choice. And when I did Patron's Choice, it was kind of a double-edged sword, and here's why. By the way, I don't know why the stream chat is frozen, but it has. It used to be a double-edged sword, and here's why, okay? the patrons would get ultimate power. They would, okay? And they would outright have all control over this playthrough. That would happen, okay? But number one, undoubtedly what would happen, I'd have a bunch of patrons and probably 10% of them would nominate and vote for games. Because the majority of people who contribute aren't looking to get anything out of it. That's just the truth. It's called the silent majority. The silent majority of my viewers and the silent majority of my contributors are not here trying to help out because they want something out of it.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything.
Okay? But what he's saying is the following. He tipped me $9.98 and he says, why do you think responding to John and Howard's stuff is a good idea? It's 7 years old. It's all done for. Who cares? You really can't add anything meaningful there. Trust me. Actually, it's completely false. I know for a fact I can add a ton of meaningful stuff because the problem, again, number one, all right, when that video came out, all right, I was in the midst of one of the worst years of my life, all right? Everything literally that could go wrong did go wrong in 2015. And we'll outline all of that on Saturday. And again, I'm not going to do the whole fucking Saturday react now. All right, you really are jumping the gun with this. But at the time, there was so much going on in my life that was negative. Just to have one more negative thing like this piled on top, okay, was basically kind of the breaking point for me where I was like, I just don't even want to talk about this shit anymore. I'm so done with it.
Phil, you make me angry, Phil. Could have just grabbed one of these.
2,000 years later.
Slammed him 7 years ago. That's not what this is at all. This is me taking exactly what was said, putting that into a frame of reference so people can understand it. Because when you just listen to that recording raw, it references a million things that you don't have in front of you. So you don't even know what they're talking about. And then you just say, oh, okay, what they're saying must be really bad. Man, Phil must have been a real dick or whatever. But you don't even know because you didn't hear it. So we're going to put all that into perspective. You can judge for yourself. If you want to see if back then I was an asshole, fine, judge for yourself. But at least it's in front of you. It's like kind of like, you know, I know how stupid this sounds. But by the way, in no way am I going to directly compare the two. But we've got this ongoing trial of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard for defamation. And you got one side says one thing, oh, this really happened. And the other side says the other thing, oh, no, this really happened. But without having the actual concrete objective evidence in front of you of the situation, how can you side with anyone or how could you even understand what happened in that situation? You can't. That's why we've had a fucking giant trial to blow this shit out of proportion, and it's all that's anyone's talked about for weeks and weeks, right? So in this case, right, put it into perspective. And I think what it is, a lot of people are...
Julian! I don't know where I felt like I could get a little drink around.
All the way through the 1990s. But I never actually started playing competitively until the very late 90s and then regularly in the early 2000s, where I would regularly travel to ECC once a year, Memorial Day weekend. So while everyone else was partying it up and cooking out and drinking, I was playing Street Fighter in an arcade with hundreds of other guys crammed in like sardines, sweating profusely, stinking to high heaven. And by the way, I'm definitely not saying that I don't remember those things fondly. I do. Like, those were my formative years as any kind of a competitor or any kind of public presence. Meaning, you know, when I was in arcades playing against people from all over the country who would fly out to Dunedin. Two subjective perspectives and then usually an objective middle, right? All you've heard is a subjective perspective from their side without hearing the bigger picture of hearing the other side of the argument. And I'm not saying that I'm here to defend myself. I just want people to have context. Because when you listen to that video, you have zero context for 90% of the stuff they're talking about, and you have no idea what they're even saying. I'm bringing that context in. Bringing it in. We're going to have reference. They reference a podcast where I talked about something. We're going to play that podcast so you can actually see what was said, and you can judge for yourself. And by the way, again, this is not for me to defend myself or whatever. I'm going to openly admit I wasn't a great friend of those guys. I know I wasn't. That time of my life was very different than it is today. I was insanely busy to the point where I neglected a lot of things. And I was always hyper-focused on being the guy to pump out videos. Like, that was my...
Are you sure about that?
literally nothing going on in gaming. It's a dead month right now. So having a viewer's choice playthrough would be perfect. React event that I will plan out with all of you, and we'll talk out what we want to do, because now I actually have several different channels that I can pull in content from. It doesn't have to be just like drama content and shit like that. It could be other stuff now, all right? So we're going to have new member goals in place when I come back on Wednesday. Plus, you guys are going to begin to vote on the cuisine that I'm going to be eating during the live Feasting with the King this coming Saturday. That's the big marathon.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm the one who operated a successful YouTube channel. Me today. The John and Howard, controversial video from 7 years ago. Plus, this week, I'm doing something special. This coming Thursday, for the first time ever, I am reacting to one of these game press conference things on Tuesday, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Sound good? Peace out, everyone. Have a good night. I'll see you later.
Worthless specimen, get that ass banned.
Relax.